give all. Oh God, be the center of my heart, be the center of my world, be the center, have it all. Oh God, be the center of my heart, be the center of my world, be the center, have it all. Have it all. Have it all. Take my life, let it be everything, all for thee. Let this life shine your light, I'm always yours. Take my life, let it be everything, all for thee. Let this life shine your light, I'm always yours. Take my love, all my days unto you. Endless praise, let this life shine your light, I'm always yours. Take my love, all my days unto you. Endless praise, let this light shine your light, I'm always yours. I am always yours. God, be the center of my heart, be the center of my world, be the center, have it all. Oh God, be the center of my heart, be the center of my world, be the center, have it all. Have it all. Have it all. I can't wait till the day when I see you face to face. Join the sound of the saints around the throne, with a song for the King resounding as we sing. He is Lord, praise Him evermore. Jesus Christ our Lord. Enthrone him, the King of all the heavens, ruler of the nations, Jesus Christ our Lord. As your church on this earth, we will choose to put you first. Through the joy and the pain, God be praised. With a song for the King, resounding as we sing that He is Lord. We praise Him evermore. Oh, exalt Him, lift Him up in worship, and all the earth rejoicing. Jesus Christ our Lord. Enthrone Him, King of all the heavens, ruler of the nations, Jesus Christ our Glory and honor, power and praise unto your name, unto your name. Glory and honor, power and praise to you. Oh, we give glory and honor, power and praise unto your name, unto your name. Glory and honor, power and praise to you. Oh, exalt Him, lift Him up in worship, and all the earth rejoicing. Jesus Christ our Lord. Enthrone Him, King of all the heavens, ruler of the nations, Jesus Christ our all the things that this world could offer fade in comparison to you. All my ambitions I surrender. I I give my life to you. Take the world, but give me Jesus, none but Jesus I desire. Lord, you are the greatest treasure, only Jesus I desire.
Well, kia ora e te whānau. So good to see you today. I'm glad that you've been able to carve out this time to hang out together with us at Grace City. It's wonderful to be able to be together. Hey, I've lost my hosting buddy. One of these things in this world of technology, something's gone a little bit wrong. So we hope that Nate will be able to jump right in as soon as he can. But until then, we'll just hang out together. It was really great yesterday for me to be able to experience a birthday in lockdown. Sounds a little bit weird, actually. My husband took me out. We went out to get our for me to get my second jab, him to get his first one. But it was nice to get out and about, and I was able to have a wonderful time just celebrating within our bubble. We have our daughter and son-in-law and little granddaughter also in our bubble. So it was a very nice day. So I hope you had a special moment during the week. For me, I was able to connect with people online. We had this new phrase, zoomed out. Well, some days felt like that, but it was a time of being able to be proactive too, and to be with our leadership team, and to also be with the leadership team of Grace City, and also connecting with people internationally. So I hope you've had a really good time to be able to do some of those connections. For us, we know that September 11 is a date that's gone down in history, and that has various reactions from us, and a lot of the comments on Facebook around at the moment are, what were you doing in September 11 when you heard the news? And for us, we know that that news came as a shock. It changed the way we operated as a world. And so we do remember particularly those that were impacted in a close-up personal way, and for those who had impact further out from that as well. I was able to go a few years ago to Ground Zero and to be taken through the memorial there by a first responder. And it changed my view when I heard someone's story, when you hear how it impacted them personally. And so that changed my view of that event. But here's what I know is that our story about our journey with Jesus changes too, when we know it's close up and personal, when we're able to share part of our lives together. And so I want to encourage you to share your story with others. Everyone has a story, and we understand more about Jesus, we understand more about each other when we take time to hear our stories. Well, we're going to be listening to some stories from people that are part of our Grace City community over the weeks that lie ahead. But today we've got a greeting from two of our households. So I want to pass it over to them, and to know that we are with you, we are for you, and that as we share our lives together, we can encourage one another and bring support and strength to one another. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. Let's hear from our households now.
Hello, Grace City whānau. I hope everyone's coping with lockdown, and welcome to church today. We've been having all sorts of mischief in our lockdown. We have a little trickster over here who joins me for all my really important Zoom meetings. She comes in and says, "Me work."
Work with Daddy.
Yes.
Do you think you're helping?
Yes. Look, Daddy. Yes.
What else has she been doing, Thais?
When Daddy was cleaning the window, she grabbed the hose and squirted us all. And then the hose head spun round and it squirted her in the face.
Oh my goodness. And what are we missing, guys?
People! We are people.
Yes, we're missing real people, and looking forward to being with you all again as soon as we can. And we're going to leave you with our favourite Bible verse.
Person. Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9.
All right, thanks everyone.
Kia ora, Grace City whānau. What a pleasure it is to be with you this morning. We join you from the Kingshaven flat. I'm Briley. We have Kent, Hannah and Harry joining us. We just wanted to take this time to share with you some reflections we've been having during lockdown, in the hopes that it can encourage you and maybe get you thinking.
An awesome thing I've found in the overall difficulty of lockdown is the slower pace. It enables some really good practices. For example, I've been leaning a bit more into listening prayer in the morning. Been trying to do this for a while, but in my normal sort of pace of life, getting up, waking up in the morning having to beat the traffic and do things like that, my mind just gets really like full, and it's hard for me to just to focus on God and just kind of slow down. With lockdown and sort of having less things to do, it's been really fruitful just to be able to stop and engage in that. Yeah, I just encourage everyone part of the congregation to just to take some time, spend some time with God in the quiet and see what He has to say.
Probably the biggest thing that's been on my heart through lockdown so far has just been the value of community. Yeah, it's just been really cool. We've got 7 people here, and it's a lot of close contact with people a lot of the time, but it hasn't actually been a burden. It's been a real blessing. And so I just encourage you to not take for granted the people that are around you in this time that you have, to appreciate them. Even just going on walks and seeing other families like playing in their backyard and stuff, it's actually really cool to sort of have the slower pace of life and appreciate what God can do in terms of community in this time.
I'd just like to pray for us as before we transition into the next part of the sermon. Yeah, Father, we thank you for the opportunity to meet together as a church family, even online. And we thank you for the opportunity lockdown is to slow down. We just ask that you help us to utilise that time well, to lean into you, serve those in our bubble well and those outside. And we thank you for our family and the fact that you're present through it all. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Catch you guys soon.
I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like, but I've heard the tender whisper of love in the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. I've seen many
He's such an awesome God. He's such a good God, isn't he? It's amazing that he can know us intimately and personally, yet he holds the whole world in the palm of his hands. He's like no other, and my brain can't even fathom this amazing, awesome God. And so thanks for tuning in and worshiping with us this morning, choosing to be part of this church whānau. We as a team have really been missing your faces and singing with you, hearing your voices and joining in this beautiful choir together. Our team want to sing this morning, though, this song that many of you may already know, but we want to sing it in the language of our land, Te Reo Māori. There's something about that. We'll be singing He Atua Nui. He's such an awesome God. He wehi, so mighty. He tapu, so holy. He miharo, so amazing. He's such an awesome God. He atua nui. He aroha, he's so selfless. He ringa manaki, he's so generous. And he whakapono rakue, he's so faithful, he is. So would you sing with us? Church is good news, let's sing. But not even death itself could hold you down, for you're
No one really talks about it, but so much of our existence is marked by weariness and futility. While we are surrounded by such beauty, there is so much frustration. Like generations before us, we have sought ways to counter fear, anxiety, apprehension, and loneliness. We grasp at diversions and distractions to make us feel secure, significant, and safe, or to wait out time, hoping things will be different. If our worldwide pandemic has taught us anything, it's that the things we counted on and took for granted may fracture or fall apart, changed forever. In the same way, in this book of Ecclesiastes, the teachers deconstruct life with a new and honest reflection on the here and now. The question before us: is life simply an illusion, nothing but smoke and mirrors?
Malo ilalei, welcome everybody. We are surrounded by time, aren't we? We have watches, we have phones, we have stopwatches, we have all sorts of things to help us keep track of time, our schedules, our calendars. We say we never have enough hours in the week to do what we want to do. We constantly feel like we're running out of time and that lost time can't be recovered. And then we try to control time, but all we're really doing is pausing the stopwatch. It's not stopping the tick, tick, tick of time. It still keeps going. And in this book of Ecclesiastes that we've been looking at, the quester, the author of this book, says that when we try to grasp at something, everything just seems to fall through our fingers. He calls it chaval. It's this picture of smoke or mist. He uses it to describe the expectations/desires we have for life up here and the reality of life down here. And there is this frustrating gap that he calls chaval, where we try to reach for something and it dissipates through our fingers. And as we come to Ecclesiastes 3, the quester talks about time. And he shares this beautiful poem about time. And if you haven't grown up in church, you've probably heard this poem before because it was sung by groups like the Seekers or the Byrds way back in the 60s. Or as my kids like to say, the 1960s, to make it seem really a long time ago. Songs like, "There's a time for every purpose under heaven." Now, obviously, they sang it much better than I can sing it. But they really ripped it off here from Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And as I read it, try to hear the tick, tick, tick of the clock. It comes through in the repeated use of the word time, creating this cadence in the reading. For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to harvest, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to tear down, a time to build up, a time to cry, a time to laugh, a time to grieve, a time to dance, a time to scatter stones, a time to gather stones, a time to embrace, a time to turn away, a time to search, a time to quit searching, a time to keep, a time to throw away, a time to tear, a time to mend, a time to be quiet, a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time for war, a time for peace. Do you hear the ticking clock? That tick, tick, tick through that word time repeated like 29 times. And regardless of what we might be doing or might not be doing, this aspect of time, it just keeps ticking and there's nothing you can do to control it. And the quester is telling us this because he believes that understanding more about how time works is actually one of the keys to enjoying life under the sun. Living within this frustrating gap between the reality and the desires that we have. So let me mention 4 things that he highlights here in the poem that help us understand how life works so that we can enjoy life. First, to enjoy life, recognize the season you're in and live appropriately for that season. You know, perhaps in lockdown, it might be hard to keep track of the days, right? They all just seem to merge into each other. But even in lockdown, we still measure it by seasons, you know, level 4, level 3, level 2, that elusive level 1 and beyond. And what the quester is saying here is that actually all of life has various seasons and levels and times. And so here in the poem, he provides these 14 pairs of opposites, the highs and the lows being contrasted. And each of these 14 sets of polar opposites really express everything in between. We might say from east to west, we mean everything between those poles. And so when he says a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time for war and a time for peace, they summarize the full range of human emotion. And the quester sees this as a really comprehensive list of all of life's experiences. And the very fact that there are 14 of these is the author's way of conveying this complete set. 7 in the Bible is often seen as this perfect number, and since 14 is a multiple of 7, it's a way of emphasizing the totality of things that we experience in life. This is a complete summary of the seasons we go through in life. And it's made up of good times and bad times, killing and healing, love and hate, war and peace. But it's not actually as straightforward as just thinking about good and evil. That the quester includes things like a time to keep silent and a time to speak. Now, either of these can be good or bad. It depends on what? Well, it depends on what's appropriate to the context, what's appropriate to the season that you're in. You see, that's the point the quester's making. To enjoy life, we need to recognize the season we're in and live appropriately to that season. See, we all have different seasons. It might be a career season. You might be studying, or you might be in your first job, or being promoted to a higher level of a job. You might be stagnant in a job. You might be in between jobs. You might be retired. These are different seasons. Family seasons also happen. Singleness, newly married, parents of a newborn, parents of teenagers, empty nesters. It might even be a spiritual season, times we feel incredibly close to God, and times we wonder what's going on. The quester would say many of our problems are confounded in life because we pile these expectations on us that aren't fit for the season that we're actually in right now. So if you're a young parent, you might be on one income, you might just be in sleepless nights, you're probably living on limited energy and time right now. And so you need to release the expectations, things like having to have a home that's like so clean and tidy like a show home. It's probably unrealistic. But there's also some opportunities in the unique season you have. Opportunities of grabbing hold of the beautiful network of friends that you have that are in that same season where everybody just seems to connect around that new child. Or if you're a young adult, you're going to be limited by experience, but you're going to have a whole bunch of time and energy on your hands. So release the expectation that you have to have everything figured out, but seize the opportunity of the comparative freedom that you have. Or you might be a retired person and you're experiencing the loss of an official role in your life. But actually you have the opportunity of time and of wisdom and of experience. So release the false expectations and grab hold of the opportunities. But what do we often do in our seasons of life? Well, we tend to complain. We try to push away from the season we're in and grab hold of a season that actually isn't for us right now. It's the desire to be married, the desire for kids, the desire for the kids to leave home, the desire for work, the desire to just have a break from work. And all this just actually hinders us enjoying the moment that we're in. And as a result, the opportunities of the season, they slip through our fingers. And the quester says, rather than grumble about the job loss or the injury or the singleness or the lockdown, actually grab hold of the opportunity that this current season brings. The opportunity to read books you've always wanted to read, to take extended prayer walks, to enjoy long and lingered conversations with friends. You see, it says the first adjustment we need to make in this time-bound world is to recognize the season you're in and live appropriately to that season. There's a second adjustment we need to make if we're going to enjoy life. To enjoy life, realize the season you're in now will not last. And so enjoy the gifts God has placed right in front of you for this season. You see, seasons change, and they can change incredibly fast. I mean, lockdown reminds us of this, right? 4 weeks ago, you were blissfully unaware that right now we would be in a lockdown. You had plans for other things, right? And it all just changed within a matter of seconds, hours. At one moment, we can be dancing at a wedding, unspeakable joys. Another moment, we're actually mourning the loss of the one we were dancing with. Incredible challenges. We laugh with a friend, and then we weep for what that ex-friend has done to us. You see, to enjoy life, we need to realize the season we're in right now will not last. Now, if you're in a difficult season, this should be good news for you. Maybe you've recently lost your job, or you're mourning the loss of someone that you love, or you're finding lockdown just incredibly hard. I realize this season, it will not last. Now, it may not feel that way. What you're feeling right now might feel like it's going to be felt forever. But there's actually going to come a day when you will be laughing once again. And of course, if you're in a happy season, it might be a new promotion or the news of a first child about to come. I hate to break it to you, but this season will not last either. The Quester believes that if we think that our season will always just stay the same, we're actually not going to enjoy life all that well when the seasons change. We need to realize that seasons do change. He doesn't want us to be blindsided by changing seasons that come. Now, he adds to this over in verse 3, just after this poem. The Quester goes back to this repeated theme that he places throughout the book. Listen to this in verse 12. I concluded that there is nothing better than to be happy and to enjoy ourselves as long as we can. People should eat and drink and enjoy the fruits of their labor, for these are gifts from God. Now, last Sunday was Father's Day, and my kids made the day so special. I came down here to this table, and there was beautiful breakfast and food and cards, and I'm not a kid anymore, but when I came to the table full of gifts and cards with my name on it, beautiful things that my kids had made, I was like a kid again, because these were made for me. You see, what the Quester is saying is God has placed these gifts right in front of you, regardless of the season that you're in. And they have your name written right on them. It's for you, so look out for them. Open them and enjoy the gift God has given to you, even amidst this current season. I talk to him about the season and see what he's already given to you. You see, that gift for you, it might be a simple meal that's in front of you. It might be a call from a friend, just checking in to see how you're doing. For me this morning, it was looking outside my window and seeing this tree just outside our house, and it's starting to burst forth with new leaves again. Personally, I needed that today. I needed to know there is a changing season moving from winter into spring. You see, if you're going to enjoy life, you need to recognize the season you're in, and you need to realize the season you're in now will not last. There's a third adjustment we need to make if we're going to enjoy life amidst the frustrating tick, tick, tick of the clock. And it's this. To enjoy life, remember, you're not in charge of the seasons. So give up trying to control the seasons. There's some things that are listed right here in the poem that we can control. And there's some things we can't control. A time to be born and a time to die. I don't choose either of these. It's like milk. I can go to the fridge and I'm about to have my coffee, and I pour the milk and I'm like, oh, what do? Well, you look at the expiration date. The Quester is saying, actually, you and I were made with an expiration date. And it's outside of your control and my control. Yes, he says there's a time for everything, but I don't get to schedule a time for sadness and a time for laughter. Hey, Siri, allocate 3 hours of joy to me this afternoon and minimize 15 minutes of sorrow next week. It doesn't work that way. That's why the Quester immediately follows on this beautiful poem with this rhetorical question. So what do people really get for all their hard work? It's like a kidney punch, isn't it? And then he says, I've seen the burden God has placed on us all. And yet God made everything beautiful in his time. He's placed eternity in the human heart, but even so, people can't see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. He says that there's moments where we see that there's this wonder, pure wonder. After all, God has placed eternity into our very hearts. And we see that the beauty of the way the world is meant to be, traces of the Garden of Eden. But we also experience life east of Eden in a fallen world. One moment we're standing in amazement and awe. Other moments we're confused. We're just trying to make sense of it all. Floodings, pandemics, terror events, weeping, hating, warring. And that, my friends, is the very tension between being this eternal being and this finite body. It's this ongoing tension between being living in a fleeting world and the forever world. We see enough of the grand design, and yet the big picture just seems to dissipate through our fingers. See, internally we have this hunger for a bigger picture, but the question says we can't actually grasp the big picture. It's like we have the capacity to ask why, but we don't have the capacity to understand fully the why. You see, perhaps during lockdown you got out an old jigsaw puzzle. It's a great way to pass the time away, right? And you have all these different pieces. What the Questa is saying is that there is a big picture for everything that happens under the sun. The problem is that we actually only have a few of the pieces in front of us, and what's more, we don't actually have the cover. We don't actually even know what the whole picture is about. And so some of our moments, we're left we hold a handful of pieces, and we're trying to fit them together, trying to make sense of this picture of life in front of us. But life is a puzzle. I mean, how do I make sense of my cousin dying of bowel cancer when she had young kids at home? How do I make sense of the cancellations of good events that happened during the pandemic? And every once in a while, we're just trying to fit it together, but every once in a while we find like a corner piece or a border piece, and it's just like, okay, well, I get a sense of where this fits. And sometimes two pieces might snap together, and we start to see a pattern, we start to see the picture. But actually, we don't get all of it. The big picture still evades us. You see, the truth is you and I can't grasp how 1 billion lives and 1,000 generations and unspeakable sorrows and untold joys somehow are all pieced together into a beautiful big picture of redemption. And throughout the book, the Questa believes actually understanding those limitations is the key to enjoying life in the here and now, embracing our frailty, embracing our limitations. He says, remember, we're enclosed within these bounds of time. And while we have this hunger for eternity, we are living in this finite body in a fleeting world. So realize you're not God. And so stop pretending to be like you are God, like you're in control of time, like you understand it all. Because to enjoy life, the Questa says, remember you're not in charge of the seasons. So give up trying to control the seasons. There's one final adjustment we need to make if we're going to live well amidst the tick, 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 the frustrations of life. To enjoy life, he says, reset your focus to trust that God will put right all that has gone wrong. See, while I can't see the big picture, I do know that God has a big picture. I know that he holds it in his hand, and one day he's going to fit all the pieces together right as they should be. And the Questa talks about this in verse 14. He says, I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it, nothing taken away from it. God will call the past to account. The reason I can trust God with all the times of my life and your life is that God will dial back all of time, and he's going to bring justice to everything that needs it. See, my story has unanswered questions. There's broken characters, there's jarring interruptions, there's unexpected joys, there's relationships caught up in this unresolved tension and difficulties. And while all the pieces don't seem to fit, what gives me hope is that ultimately God will someday assemble all the pieces, and all the rights or the wrongs are going to be put right. Now, the Questa is writing in a BC world, and so I want the Questa to know actually about the lengths God's taken to put wrongs right. After all, the story of the gospel is that the God who created time stepped into a world governed by time. Over in the New Testament, the Apostle Paul says, but when the set time had fully come, God sent his Son. Elsewhere he writes, you see, at just the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Jesus rose too at just the right time as the scriptures had foretold. And he experienced the full range of human emotions, things that happened during this time, just like the quester talks about, the weeping and the laughing. Jesus knew what time it was to heal and to teach and to mend and to tear. He knew when to keep silent. He knew when to speak out. The story of the gospel says that there is another time coming when he will return and put right all that has gone wrong in our world and our lives. And he's often called the Alpha and the Omega, which means the beginning and the end. You see, finally, we get to talk to a God who actually understands the frustrations that come with time, and all time is in his hands. And that is exactly why we can trust him each moment of the day. And so we actually have more revelation than what the quester had. But even now, we still don't actually see all the details in this big picture that's been revealed to us. We still just have these pieces trying to make sense of it all. But what we can know is that one day all those pieces will one day connect together and God will put right all that has gone wrong. And if we're going to enjoy life, well, we need to ensure that we're in a right relationship with the one in charge of time. And if we're going to enjoy life, we need to trust him with every moment of our time. I think the psalmist expressed it so well. He sums it up for us. I trust in you, Lord. My times are in your hand. You see, while we're surrounded by time, while it continues to tick, tick, tick away, the quester has given us 4 adjustments we need to make if we're going to enjoy life amidst the frustrations of time. Some questions are coming up on your screen. Out of these 4 adjustments I've spoken about today, which one do you need to most grab hold of to make sense of the frustration and chaval that you're experiencing right now? Is it to recognize the season you're in? Well, ask yourself, what might it mean to live more appropriately in this season? What expectations need to be released, opportunities seized? Or is it to realize the season you're in will not last? If so, how might I prepare for the coming season? What has God given to me that I can enjoy? Remember, you're not in charge of the seasons. So to what extent might I be trying to control the things of my life? And then reset your focus to trust the one who will put right all that has gone wrong. You know, friend, are you actually in good company with Jesus? If not, are you ready to pray with somebody today? Because we have hosts here online who would love to pray with you. Which one are you? Why not discuss it after the service today with people in your bubble? Give somebody a call, meet up with somebody in your small group. But right now, with these questions still in front of us, let's talk to Jesus about what's going on. Jesus, you're the Alpha and the Omega, the one who created time, the one who entered into time as one of us. And so you understand all the frustrations of time and the futility of life in the here and now. And it is so good, Jesus, to know that you are doing something about that futility. So help us to trust you. Help us to realize we're not in charge. And help us to be present in the moment that we're in. And enjoy the gifts that you've given to us. And friend, if you're not currently in a relationship with Jesus, I invite you today to be able to respond to Jesus. Talk to one of our hosts right now. And this week, may we all trust in the Lord. For our time, it's all in his hands.
trust in you and know that you are with me forever. I'll confide in you, 'cause you're the only answer that matters. Even in the darkness, you will be my light. And even when I'm hopeless, you will be my guide. I will not be shaken, I will not be moved. Even in the chaos, I know that you're good. You're the keeper, protector. It is you that holds us together. When everything else fails us, it is you that holds us together. I will trust in you, your thoughts and plans on me, they are good. I will wait on you, I know that you will see me through. 'Cause even in the darkness, you will be my light. And even when I'm hopeless, you will be my guide. I will not be shaken, I will not be moved. And even in the chaos, I know that you're good. 'Cause you're the keeper, protector. It is you that holds us together. When everything else fails us, it is you that holds us together. You're the keeper, protector. It is you that holds us together. When everything else fails us, it is you that holds us together. You're the keeper, protector. It is you that holds us together. When everything else fails us, it is you that holds us together. You're the keeper, protector. It is you that holds us together. When everything else fails us, it is you that holds us together. You're the keeper, protector. It is you that holds us together. When everything else fails us, it is you that holds us together.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? That Jesus holds us together. So often that we try and keep control of it ourselves. And I know that's what I do. And the remembering those words from Psalms that Jonathan shared with us. I will trust you, Lord. My times are in your hand. It's one thing to say it, isn't it? It's another thing to actually do it. You know, one of the things that we discover with Church Online is that we can finish off our service and then click off and then get running into the other things that we would do, or we just stop to, we need to stop and just to think, what is it God's been saying to us? So that we can actually make sure that we're tuning in to what he's saying, and then that we can take an action. Now, we've given you some of those questions that Jonathan gave us. They're in the notes section on your Church Online. So just pop over there, click the tab on the notes, and you'll see all of those questions there. We'd encourage you to talk about that at home, to maybe get on the phone and chat about it with somebody else who you would normally be seeing on a Sunday. That way we can put into place the things that God is saying to us, and that we can take action and make this good use of this time. Hey, Nath, you're back with us. It's good to have you.
I am. Technical difficulties resolved.
So glad to hear. What stood out for you today in the message?
Yeah, I guess for me, it's in times of uncertainty and not knowing what next week holds or the week after that, it's reminding myself to put 100% of my trust in God and remembering that he's the one that is in control over everything. So thanks, JD, for such a powerful word this morning. I know that it really resounded with so many people listening today. Hey, just a reminder too that you can stay connected with everything that's happening at Grace City as we find out about a change in alert levels next week and whether we move to level 3 or not. To stay updated with what the plan is regarding Church Online and when we're allowed back in the building. And you can do that through our website, but also through Facebook. And if you're not a part of the Facebook community group, I encourage you to get involved on there. If you're on Facebook, come join us. We love seeing people's faces, of them enjoying Church Online together, of Kids Space Family Experience. I saw some photos from the 9 a.m. service of people enjoying what Malia and Harrison bring us there. Also, a reminder that giving is still available, and thank you to everyone who gives generously to the work that God is doing, even during lockdown. So thank you for that. Hey, Mark, do you want to tell us what's coming right up? I did give a little clue, but what's coming up after this?
I'm sure the kids are all yelling out right now, Kids Space Family Experience. It's so good to be able to tune in and see what Harrison and Malia have put together for this week. We're talking about initiative, and what parent doesn't want their kids to learn about initiative? There's so much that we can actually learn, whether we're a kid or whether we're actually a little bit older than that. You know, we've got the opportunity to have a meaningful conversation as a family. And so I'd encourage you all as a family, if you've got kids around with you, really participate in this together. Give it 100% of your focus, and that one conversation might just change things and lead your kids closer to Jesus. So make sure that you hang around for that. If you don't have kids, then you can still hang around. We know some of you that are slightly older do that. If you're a preschooler or parents of preschoolers, don't forget that Ollie in the Clubhouse, those videos are still posted every single week in the Kids Space family and parent Facebook page. So make sure that you click onto those, because we want to stay connected, and our young people particularly need that. So that's what's coming up. But if you're not involved with that, then we just want to say, hey, have a great week. Know that God is in control. You can trust him no matter what. Enjoy being connected to each other and seeing those simple things that God has given to us and we can praise him for. Bless you, Grace City. We love being together. Catch up with you soon.
Whenever I need some answers, God, I turn to you. You are my help when I need wisdom. You always see me through. To know that you're chasing after me makes me I don't know what to do, you help me figure it out. God, I run to you. When I need a solution, I have no doubt that I will run to you. I run to you. I run to you. I run to you. I run to you. Wherever there is freedom, I know that's where you'll be. You make me wanna do what's right and be the best version of me. To know that you're chasing after me, it makes me wanna run to where you are. God, you make this journey worth it. I give you all my heart. When I don't know what to do, you help me figure it out. God, I run to you. When I need a solution, I have no doubt that I will run to you. I 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 don't wanna stop. I don't wanna stop living for you. For you. I don't wanna stop. I don't wanna stop running to you. To you, God. I don't wanna stop. I don't wanna stop living for you. For you. I don't wanna stop. I don't wanna stop running to you. To you, God. You're all I need. My source for everything. When I don't know what to do, you help me figure it out. I run to you. When I need a solution, I have no doubt that I will run to you. When I don't know what to do, you help me figure it out. God, I run to you. When I need a solution, I have no doubt that I will run to you. I run to you. I run to you. I run to you. I run to you.
Good morning, guys.
And welcome to Family Experience. We are so excited that you guys are here with us. This month, we're getting ready to launch and we're learning all about Nehemiah. Last week, we talked about planning and building a rocket. Malia, did you build your rocket?
I did build my rocket, Harrison. I spent ages and ages planning it, getting all my materials, and getting everything ready. Do you want to see it?
Yes.
So cool.
Whoa, that is so cool.
Thanks. Did you build yours?
I sure did. Here it is.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. How about you guys at home? Did you guys build your rocket? Why don't you let us know in the comments below or post a photo of it to our Kids Based family page on Facebook. So that was our game for last week, planning and building this rocket. But I wonder what our game this week is.
So our game this week is very similar to last week, but this week, instead of building a rocket, we need someone to go in our rocket, don't we? We need an astronaut. So, Harrison, did you by any chance have an astronaut for your rocket?
Oh, yes, I did. I found a teddy and wrapped him up in a special space suit and gave him a special space helmet. Why don't you guys give this a go at home? Why don't you guys go grab a teddy and make them into an astronaut? And make one kind of similar to this. But guys, we're going to give you 60 seconds to plan it and gather all the materials you need. This is not the time for building, just 60 seconds to gather all the materials. And we will give you guys some time after to assemble your astronaut. We would love to see how crazy your astronaut turns out, so make sure you guys show us a picture. Are you guys ready? This is for planning, remember. 3, 2, 1, go.
Cool. Did you guys get all of your items to assemble your astronaut? What we're going to do now is we're going to get you to build the astronaut. So take all of the items that you got and try to assemble it, and we'd love to see it. You guys are going to have 60 more seconds. Are you ready? Have you got your plan? Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Wow, that was so fun. Did you guys manage to build your astronauts? Don't worry if you didn't have enough time. You can keep building it. But do you guys want to see my astronaut? Oh, it's so cool. So here's my Teddy, and he's got his spacesuit on, which I think is very cool. And he's got his very own space helmet, which he can see through so he can fly a ship. So, did you guys make astronauts? Let us know in the comments below. But here's my guy, and he's ready to launch in his super cool rocket ship.
Yeah, I really look forward to hearing how your guys' astronauts turned out. But today we're going to be learning about Nehemiah and how he looked for ways to make things right in Jerusalem. He used his initiative to take care of the people. So let's find out what he did.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Nehemiah, chapter 5, verses 1 through 12.
Nehemiah had traveled all the way from the king's palace of Persia to the broken down city of Jerusalem. And there, with God's help, he rallied all the Jews living there to begin the epic job of rebuilding that city's walls.
Who's with me?
I say, let's start rebuilding.
At first, the work went well. Each family or group took a different part of the wall to work on.
We're making record time.
Nehemiah and the people even managed to ignore taunts and threats from neighboring nations who did not want to see that wall rebuilt.
If a fox climbs on that pathetic thing, it'll fall right down.
The God of heaven will give us success.
So it seemed like nothing was going to stop this big project until new trouble showed up. From inside the walls, a group of Jews in ragged cloaks came to look for Nehemiah where he was working on the wall.
There's not enough food for everyone. We're being forced to sell our fields and vineyards just to buy grain.
There's hardly enough to keep us alive. The king's taxes are high. We have to borrow money, but then we can't even pay the high interest.
Interest was extra money the people had to pay back. It was so high they could hardly keep any of the money they made.
Who's making you do this?
Other Jews, our own relatives.
We even had to send our children to work for them as slaves.
We have nothing left. Please help us. This is not right. It's not right at all. I'll take care of it.
Nehemiah was so angry that he didn't trust himself to act in the moment. Instead, he thought it over for a time.
God, what do I do about this?
His own people were mistreating those who had less. Nehemiah took this so seriously, he stopped work on the wall to call together the Jewish nobles and officials.
What's this all about?
Better be good. Making us lose all this work time.
It's not good. It's bad. You're charging your own people interest.
It's not like it's that much.
I mean, we can't loan money for free, right?
Do you have to ask me this? Think about it. Many Jewish people were sold as slaves to other nations, and we had to buy them back and bring them home. Now, you're charging so much interest, they are forced to become slaves again.
Oh.
No one could argue with Nehemiah. They listened quietly to his next words.
What you're doing is not right. We have to show respect for God. Look, I am lending money and grain to the people who need it, and so are my relatives, but we aren't charging any interest.
So, what should we do now?
If you've taken anything in payment, give it back. Fields, vineyards, olive groves, houses, give it all back. Even the interest that you've charged, do it now.
God moved in the hearts of the people because instead of arguing, they agreed.
We'll give it back.
We won't make them give us anything else.
We'll do just as you say.
Very good.
Nehemiah sent for the priests so that the nobles and officials could make this promise before God.
You must keep this promise, or God will deal with you.
Amen.
Immediately, the officials did as they said.
Here are the papers. The vineyard is yours again. Oh, thank you. I've been working years to get it ready for a good harvest.
I took too much. This is yours.
This means my son can come home now.
So once the nobles and officials made everything right, work on the wall began again, faster and stronger than before, now that everyone had what they needed. And Nehemiah continued to show his people how to treat each other, even though King Artaxerxes had appointed him governor.
You know, all the other governors made the people pay them silver and give them lots of food and stuff, even land.
That's too heavy a load to put on the people.
Instead, Nehemiah dedicated himself to working on the wall. In fact, he even invited 150 people to eat food at his own table. Throughout his life, he always looked for ways to treat people fairly and make things right.
Wow, it was really important for Nehemiah to take care of the people. So when he saw that they were treated unfairly, he took initiative and he went to the officials and he asked them to make it right. And we can do the same thing. When we see people are being treated unfairly or when we know something is wrong, we can take the initiative to try and look for ways to make things right.
Yeah, that's a great bottom line for today. Look for ways to make things right. You can always ask an adult if you're not sure how to help, but the important thing is that we take initiative together and work to make things right for others. Speaking of making things right for others, why don't we reveal the family question? Who do you see that needs help?
That's a great family question for today. Who do you see that needs help? Why don't you sit together as a family and talk to each other about this? Ask each other, who do you see that needs help? And how can you take the initiative to help them? Maybe it's a friend who's struggling in lockdown, or maybe it's your brother or sister needs help cleaning their room. Why don't you ask mum and dad, who do you see that needs help? And they can ask you back. But the important thing is we talk to each other and see how we can take the initiative to help those around us, just like Nehemiah did.
And once you guys have done that, we have another episode of the So and So Show. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But we are really looking forward to seeing you guys all again soon. And we're praying for you guys all, and we hope you have a great week. Malia, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just looking to see if there's anyone around me who needs help, because I want to take the initiative to see who I can help. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Whenever I need some answers, God, I turn to you. You are my help when I need wisdom. You always see me through. To know that you're chasing after me makes me wanna run to where you are. God, you make this journey worth it. I give you all my heart. When I don't know what to do, you help me figure it out. God, I run to you. When I need a solution, I have no doubt that I will run to you. I run to you. I run to you. I run to you. I run to you.
Oh boy, it's hard to breathe in this thing. Oh, it's really hot in here. Oh, it's better. Come on, baby. Baby! Baby! I've lost my baby! Oh, thank goodness you're here. Come, child.
Why do I have to be the baby?
Stay in character.
Be the baby, why do I have to?
Come on, keep up. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the So and So Show. I'm John.
And I'm Brandon.
And I'm Joel, baby. And you just got Joel rolled.
Whoa! Hey, hold on a second. What is going on?
Yeah, what are you doing here, Joel?
Yeah.
Come on, it's your favorite guest. Is that any way to treat me? Come on, baby. I'm here. Might as well make the best of it. It's time for somebody who trolls stuff.
Yeah, okay. Who are you and what do you troll?
My name is Joel, and I troll stooges on the internet and also to their faces. Like this guy's face. You know, it looks like a plastic orange balloon.
I mean, I guess that's bad. What can we do for you, Joel?
There's nothing you can do because you're not. You don't have a. You can't. I rule.
What was that?
Yeah,
Oh, well, you know, of course, Brandon doesn't get my insults because you don't. You have a. You know, if you read your brain is so smooth. Knowledge.
You're usually a lot quicker with the put downs, Joel. What's going on with you today?
Nothing. I'm fine. I'm totally fine. Normal Joel here. Unlike the two of you who are not cool. You still got it, Joel. You still got it, my friend.
Are you okay?
Fine. Fine. You know, fine. I'll talk about it.
I thought he was going to talk about it. Hold on. Thank you. The air bill has been.
You know how I like snakes, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Well.
What in the world is going on?
Should we cut?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I don't think he's coming back, so...
No, don't eat that. Come on. Eat this. Come here.
Ah!
I do. This is Jerry. You want to say hi?
Hi! Hi!
Hello, Jerry. Anyway, lately I've been thinking Jerry could use a snake buddy with him in his habitat. So I went online and I found this little guy. I got a great deal on him. Only $250.
Oh, is that good?
Of course it's good. You think I wouldn't do my research?
Okay.
Yeah, so I bought it. And then I waited 7 to 10 business days for it to be delivered. And then today, guess what?
What?
I got a package in the mail. Here, hold this.
Oh, I don't want to. Okay. You want to?
No.
All right.
No, I cannot look.
See?
It's a picture.
Yes, that's what I paid for. $250, not for a snake, but for a picture of a snake. It's not fair. I was tricked.
Yeah. Here, do you mind?
Jerry, be nice to him.
He's being nice. It's fine. Okay. I'm sorry that someone, cheated you out of your money, Joel. That was...
Yeah, that's got me out of my rhythm. I can't even troll the two of you. I mean, people who don't do stuff good.
So wait a minute. You're upset because someone on the internet treated you unfairly?
Yeah, so?
Well, isn't that what you do? You troll people on the internet?
What's your point?
Nothing, no point.
I think what John is trying to say is that maybe now you understand what it feels like to be, bullied.
Well, I just thought that Jerry could use a friend. I guess I could use one too.
All right, look, you guys stay here. I'm gonna make a phone call and see if I can get your money back.
Who makes phone calls anymore? You try writing a letter. You could send it by carrier pigeon.
I'm trying to help you.
Whatever. Well, since he's gone, what's next? Something boring, I bet.
No, actually, the next part of our show isn't boring at all, and thankfully there are no snakes. Where's the snake? Where's Jerry?
Oh, he's around here somewhere. He does this.
Then it's Bible story time with Kellen.
Hey guys! Hey, Joel?
What's that?
You see a snake where you are, Kellen?
No. Why?
No reason. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about Nehemiah, who, you may remember, took the initiative to repair the broken down walls of the city of Jerusalem. But the walls weren't the only thing in the city that was broken. Nehemiah saw that some people in Jerusalem were being mistreated, and he knew that something had to be done about it. What is... Okay, here we go.
Come on, they didn't have courtrooms like this in biblical times.
I know, just watch.
All right. I saw everything that was going on, and I'm furious about it. But I want to make sure you have the opportunity to explain it to me in your own words.
Okay, sir. The king's taxes are really driving people into the ground. We've lost all our money. We can't even afford to feed our sons and daughters.
Don't you have fields, vineyards? Can't you grow your own food?
Well, we had to sell our fields and vineyards to pay our taxes, and we had to borrow the money from them.
What can I say? I'm a giver.
You're charging us interest.
So it's my money. Don't I have the right to charge interest?
Just in case you don't know what interest is, it works like this. Someone might let you borrow $5 now, but only if you agree to pay them $7 later. That extra $2, well, that is interest.
Okay! So you're charging the people interest. Don't you see how bad a time they're having?
Hey, it's not my fault that they don't have the cash they need to keep their fields.
Oh, so you took their fields?
I did. And their vineyards. But hey, I feel for the people. I mean, they're my cousins.
They're your own family? Does that seem fair to you?
I don't know, maybe.
We've had to sell our sons and daughters into slavery. We had nothing left to give.
What's the matter with you? These people are in need, and you're taking advantage of them when they're at their lowest?
Well, I see that, but
Our Jewish brothers and sisters know what it's like to be sold into slavery. We went through so much to bring them back, and now you're forcing your own people right back into it.
But Judge,
these people need help. You should be lending them money. That's a good thing. I'm lending them money and grain, and so is my family. But we should not be charging interest. It's the right thing to do in this situation. I find in favor of the plaintiff. You will give the citizens their fields and vineyards back. All loans will be repaid with no interest. Someone clean up my papers.
Nehemiah saw people being treated unfairly and he stood up for them. And as followers of Jesus, we also need to be on the lookout for opportunities to do good and to love others. It's the right thing to do. See you next time.
Hey, thanks, Kellen.
Yeah, that was a lot less time wasty than I anticipated.
I got it.
You got my money back?
Yep, should be in your account now. Yeah.
How did you do that so quickly?
Well, it turns out that a little kindness goes a long way.
Well,
What is this?
Are you trying to say thank you?
I've never done this before. Give me a break. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, you smell like onions.
Wait, don't go!
No, yeah, you forgot your picture. Why are you sitting on the desk?
And Jerry's loose.
All right. Reveal the question. Today's question is, who do you see being treated unfairly?
Yeah, is there someone you know that other people make fun of because they're different? Maybe they don't have the cool clothes or have a different accent or something?
Or is there someone you might be treating unfairly, like a little brother or sister?
Yeah, take the initiative and stand up for someone when they're being mistreated. You'd want someone to do that for you.
Yeah, and if you know how to catch snakes,
yes,
please stand up for us right now.
Yes, I'm John.
And I'm Brandon.
And this was the So-and-So Show. What are we going to do?
Stay here all week.
Okay, I'm down with that.
All right.
Wait, can snakes climb desks?
Jerry.
I think he's gone.
Jerry. You sure he's gone?
Yeah. I don't see him. You guys see him?
Hey.
Okay.
I think he's gone. He's fine.
All right, great.
He won't be.
Man, if that thing got anywhere
There's nothing
near
here.
me, I would freak
Stay out there.
Jerry!
Oh! Oh!
Jerry! Stop! Go hurt him! Jerry, come here. Come here, buddy. It's okay. Oh, buddy. Thank goodness. He'll be fine.